This should be recording, theoretically, yeah. Okay, so if you want to see one of the trippiest things I think I've ever seen, building. And this is my fault for being weird, for being weird to be putting this carbon fiber shape in here. Now, there's a couple of things to notice. Let me get this thing a little bit, if I can't get a better angle on it. I have to sort of angle this thing, and I'm not seeing it in real time. There's this weird delay, so it's a bit annoying. Okay, so here it might be to the naked eye. Ah, shit. Sorry. I cussed in my video. I should bleep myself. I maybe started to drop this. To the naked eye, then, if you follow your eye right down here, and then a little bit on this side too, a tiny little bit, when I turn that, you're going to see a little bit of a dark shadow. And we're not talking about Barnabas Collins. Anyway, now maybe you can't see it too well in the video, but when you're looking at this thing by eye, you can see it. And I'll turn this thing over while I'm talking, but the weird thing about it is I sat there and I pored over that thing trying to figure out what did I do wrong with the finishing to create this effect, because this is driving me nuts. And it was just making me crazy to think that I had imparted that into that wood. And I did a little, and I'll flip it over. When you're putting shellac on it, it's reduced in an alcohol, denatured alcohol. And if you put that on an oily wood, it'll dissolve the oil in the wood, carry it with the shellac, and depart it into a place you don't want it, which is the pores of this wood. It happened a little bit, but I burnished it pretty well. It didn't absorb very much. Anyway, what you can see though, if I get it in the perfect right light, and I don't know if you can, but right here and right over here, there are triangular shapes of relatively lighter wood. And you know what you're looking at there is really you're looking at the area of the wood right here that doesn't have carbon fiber underneath it. What you're really looking at here, from here, in between these two areas, right here, there's a little dark shadow. And what you're looking at is the shadow of the carbon fiber piece below it. And the reason you can see it here and not here is because this is all side grain, and that's opaque. But when you're looking down the tubes, think of this grain right here as a bunch of drinking straws, and you're looking down the top of the box to the bottom. You can see the bottom of the box. Well, woodworkers already know what I'm talking about. But what this boils down to is you are actually looking through the grain of the wood, the end grain of the wood, to a shadow. And you're seeing a shadow of that carbon fiber part. And the only way to fix this is to, in hindsight, all I got to do is get a Titebond sizing, which is basically taking Titebond, mixing it with water with about a 1:10 ratio Titebond to water, and then sort of work in that area. You'll put it over the whole thing, but this area will suck it in, and it'll stay in there. It'll seal. But it'll have a little bit of a blonde flavor to it, but the biggest point here is that it'll be opaque, and no light will go down below the surface. So it'll look better when it's done. But anyway, this was 4 coats of oil, and then I discovered this thing, and I'm sitting here